Okay, good evening to everyone, and I hope you are all doing okay. And I hope that the weekend was good. And again, it's another week day, and yeah. So I'm sure you are all doing pretty well, and I'm sure you are having a wonderful time. Okay, so we're back today. So last week, um. just to recap, basically, last week our discussion was around reconnaissance um, and information gathering. Oops, this man. Yep. So our focus was on reconnaissance, basically, and so we talked about um, various steps and various tools that we can use. So like we discussed about um Spiderfoot, which was or is an amazing tool that we use. It's basically an automated kind of tool that we just install in our OS, and then we can be able to get information about our target. So we also talked about Nmap, which is another interesting tool for scanning our targets, finding open ports, and so forth. And we also went ahead with the NSE, which is the network scripting engine, which is like an extension of Nmap itself, which gives us the ability to be able to perform more actions like getting to know vulnerabilities on our targets. And yep, we also talked about credential harvesting and search engine mining, okay, which we did, okay, where we use our SET Toolkit for um, credential harvesting as well. And yep, we um, we also talked about search engine mining where we use Google Dorking and the harvester and so forth to be able to get some information with regards to our target, like email addresses, like getting to know subdomains and so forth. And the last lecture, we discuss the SET Toolkit, okay, basically for social engineering, okay, where we use the SET Toolkit to be able to either clone a web page or we can use the template. Okay, we were able to clone some web pages and hosted them in our local machine. And also we were able to use ngrok so that we can have our local server being hosted live online, that we can be able to send the link to our targets and we can get the credentials from there. Yeah, so basically that was the overview of the last week. Pretty much that's it. So for this week, so what we will be discussing or looking at will be um, oops, think that's an error. So for this week, we will be looking at exploitation, initial access. Yep. So exploitation and initial access is what will be our goal for this week. And for today's topic, so we will be looking at the introduction to authentication attack. So we are going bit by bit with the these processes involving vulnerability assessment or pen testing rather. So yep. So this is the exploitation phase and initial access. So today will be just theory. We will understand exactly what authentication attack is and so forth. So I think I was able to prepare just a basic slide, and let me see if I can share that so we can go through the session. Let's just stop this. Oops,
Yeah.
it's not going well. I don't know how I can share this. Oops, 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 oops. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah. Be able to see.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So, like I said, this is just a theory session today. So introduction to authentication attack. So what exactly is authentication attack? So as we all know, when we talk about authentication is how we can get access into our system. So like we have our Gmail accounts, we have our social media accounts, our school accounts, and so forth. So how we can get access to our own space within those systems is the process of authentication. So basically, authentication allows us to have access to our own space within a particular system. And yeah, so the authentication attack is basically a kind of attack where the attacker will try to have access to that system. Okay, so by default, we know that you have to create an account into a system, then you can have access there. Okay. For public spaces, it's much easier. Anyone can create their accounts and so forth. But in private entities, so like in universities and colleges like that, or to in private institutions, you probably have to be enrolled or you have to be employed, and then they can generate your credentials or some kind of way. You have to be you know enrolled in that institution before you can have access. Um, yes. So these attackers, they will want to get access or to gain access to those systems without then being enrolled into those institutions. Yes. So from a pen tester point of view, it's where you might want to test the authentication mechanisms of the entity or whatever institution you are doing the job for. So to see if someone can have access to that system without then being enrolled um, to do the processes being placed. So basically, it has to do with exploit, just as we mentioned, exploiting the weaknesses in the system. So most times we see developers developing applications, they're creating login pages. So we as pen testers, we will want to test those login pages to see if they they are aligned with security standards, with best practices. Yes, so we can test them and see whether they can be bypassed. Yes, so basically there are two types that we will be looking at. So one is password guessing, okay, and the other one is credential stuffing, okay. So password guessing, so just as the name suggests, is where we will be using commonly used passwords, okay, or combination of passwords or a password list. So we are just guessing passwords. So common passwords can be like 12345. Admin password can be admin at 12345. So this is where the attackers or the pen testers will use commonly used passwords to guess um attempts of login. Okay, so probably they might get the user, for example, if the username is admin, then they might try to get different combinations of passwords. um it can be 100, it can be 200, it can be 1000, 5000 different combinations of passwords. So uh, yeah. So basically, that's it. So those combinations will be try against that password field and see if we can have access to the system. So basic techniques that can be used in that process, one can be a brute force. We can use a dictionary attack, or we can use a password spraying. So basically, in brute force, again, we are sending combinations of, say for example, we might have from if the password is only a number, we might have from 0 to 9. Okay, then we can brute force that 0 to 9 with different combinations. So it's going to try every combination, every possible combination between 0 to 9, and see if it can find the password. Whereas in dictionary attack is where so you have a defined passwords probably in a file, like a text file. You have the list of maybe 100 passwords or 1,000 passwords. So it's like a dictionary where, right, different types of passwords will be there, and then you can be able to um, put that dictionary attack against the password field. So it's going to try every possible password that you have in the list. And if anyone matches the password, then um, it's in. And then we have the password spraying. So this is where you have a single password and you are trying multiple accounts. Okay. So this one, most of the time, we find people using the same password for multiple accounts. Um, these days we have so many accounts available. We are not able to remember all the passwords, you know. So most times we would just use the same password for our school, use the same password for our Gmail accounts, use the same password for our social media accounts. So in password spraying, the attacker will use the same password and be able to use multiple accounts and see if they can get access to your other accounts as well. So we have discussed password guessing, okay, and the second method is credential stuffing. So in credential stuffing, so this is where the attacker will visit several other pages or several other platforms like the dark web and other places where they can get data or passwords or credentials of leaked accounts, okay, or data breaches. So most of the time we hear that this company is breached or has been breached, or this website has been compromised and there's a data breach involved. So they have some online platforms that um, usually can have a database of some of those breaches, right? So what the attacker would do, um, they will try to obtain those data breaches and see if they can get the accounts credentials from there, right? So, yeah. So most times they can use script tools or scripts or some automated tools to be able to perform those actions. Even they can do manually, because for example, if you have if there was a breach with for example, let's say Facebook today, and then you you visited one of those pages probably in the dark web, and then so you can be able to get access to that data breach. And if the users of those accounts, or if Facebook themselves probably don't put in the mechanisms correctly, so you can just use those breached data or credentials directly into the platforms, and for sure you will have access to them. So most of the time when such breach will occur, the users can receive alerts that they should maybe reset their passwords or so forth. So if you have a user who is not aware of the breach, yep. So it's easy using this method to gain access to the system. So also, just as in password spraying, okay. So because most of the users nowadays will try to reuse their passwords. So whenever an attacker or hacker obtain um, the credentials from a data breach, okay, so they can also use those credentials against several other platforms. Okay, so they're just testing and see if you are still using those credentials in those platforms. So how the credential um, stuffing will work? So basically, just as we said, so if there's a breach, the attacker will collect those credentials from the breach data, and then the attacker will deploy bots, okay, to be able to test those credentials. So basically, that's the automated part. So probably they might have several other users, like 1,000, 2,000, or even um, uh, you know, several other thousands of um, credentials. So basically, the attacker will use those bots as automation mechanisms to test those credentials against those platforms. And so the bots, if it's successful, it will gain the unauthorized access to those accounts. Okay, and then the attacker now can be able to exploit those accounts. Yep. So here we have just some credential dump sources. So like we said, there can be multiple sources where we can get credentials that have been part of a breach. Okay. And one of the most common one we can use is this one, Hafa Ben Pon. So if we just visit, okay, let me see if I can just get to that. Just 1 minute. Yep. So, oops, go to Google. So if we visit Alpha Bempon, and this is the URL. So let's click. Yep. So here we can be able to get, so from here we see 898 font websites, and the accounts, we can see the number here. It's unbelievable, right? So there are several accounts that have been leaked, okay, to do data breach and so forth. So here we can search for email, okay. So if you want to know, for example, if your email address, okay, has been involved in a breach, so you can just type the email here. For example, I'll type my email and I check. So we see that it has been involved in 9 data breaches. Okay. So basically, because we use our email addresses in several platforms. So most of the time, whenever we try to access a platform, they might require us to sign in and so forth. So without knowing, we'll just enter our email ID, and so if that account or if that platform has been compromised, your email ID or your data will also be exposed. So here we see that Allen TXT based. So in February of 2025, there was a compromise here. There was a data breach involving email addresses and passwords. In January of 2025 also, there was also another, okay, in July of 2024. So yeah, so here we have email, password, username. Okay, Trello, of course, I use this most of the time. And they're saying that there was a data leaked in January of 2024 involving email addresses, names, and usernames, containing over 15 million email addresses, names, and usernames. So yeah, we can be able to get such data right from here. So we can know what breach was set that our credentials were involved with. So once you see this, the next step you have to take, you can visit um, the site or the platform and try to, if you stay using that, you can try to change your credentials, change your password, and make sure it's more secure. Yep. So you can use other services here. You can use an API. So if you're using automation, you want to create your own script, you can use the API for that. Yep. You can also use a reminder so that whenever your email ID is involved in a breach, okay, so probably you will be able to get that alert. Yep. So we can also get such info from um, the dark web. Okay, but that we're not gonna visit now. But yeah, you can pay, okay, and you can get access to yep, credentials using the dark web market. We can also get some from dehashed. They say free the password. So it's a kind of database of bush data. So we can see the services they're offering. can see the statistics of incidents they responded to. Okay. And we can come here to data wars. We can scroll down. Okay, loading. Okay. So we can see example websites that have been involved in data breaches. So we can expand this. We can see exposed data, email, password, full name, IP addresses, and so forth. So in March of 2015, there was a breach of this. I think this is a web hosting platform. Yep, and they're all here. So same way we can get. Okay, we can register and get more feature as well. Okay, or better still, we can, yeah, view the dark web. Oh, we can get credentials from there. So I just stop this. Yeah, so like that, we can be able to get um, the list of compromised credentials. So like I said, we can use automation, we can write our own scripts, or we can get some automated tool for such purpose. Um, yeah, we can do that. These are some of the tools we can use for credential harvesting or password guessing. Okay. So Hydra is one of them. So we can use Hydra for brute forcing and password spraying. So just as we talked about brute force, what brute force is, so we can set a particular range and it can perform combinations of that particular range of character and be able to test all against the field. So we can use it for both the password and the username. So if we um, also don't know the username, we can also do brute force on the username as well. So yeah, we can use Hydra for brute force and password spray. Brute force also we can use. Yep. And I think one of the sessions we were having for MFA, we also use a brute force attack to be able to obtain um, the code. So yeah, we can do brute force using Burp suite as well. Sentry also is another tool, okay, for credential stuffing. Okay, it helps us to automate the entire process. So you just have parameters you have to submit, and then you just click start and it starts. Even for Hydra also is automation. Browsuit also is automation. And we can also use John the Ripper. It's another popular tool we can use for password cracking. Okay, we can also use brute force attack as well using John the Ripper. And yeah, just as we said, we can also use online tools for such purpose. Okay, like Havabempon and other websites we can use for this purpose. Yep. So basically, um, that's all about the authentication attack. So as we said, um, basically there are two types. So password guessing and credential um, stuffing. Okay. And of course, they are mostly used out there by the attackers to be able to bypass our authentication systems. And just as we've been discussing in previous sessions of MFA, so one of the recommendations as a um, vulnerability assessment practitioner is to recommend the use of MFA, okay, in those systems, okay, because even if the credentials have been stolen, okay, once you have MFA enabled, it's gonna be difficult because yeah, they will have access to the credentials. They will try to log in, but then another authentication also will have to be done, which they might not have access to easily. Okay, and even if they might try to also brute force that, that is also going to take another time. So it's always good to make the system complex. It's not about like it is usually said that no system is secure, but you always have to try to make it complex so that it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. Most of the attackers, maybe, especially the ones who do for fun or something else, they might not want to be too much confronted with too many security issues. But if you just have one authentication mechanism, like a password, that's gonna be very easy for them. Okay, also you can add a monitoring feature like a web firewall, web application firewall, and other intrusion detection systems on your servers also can help a lot with this. So those are recommendations you can give whenever you have tested for such vulnerabilities in a web application or in a network or whatever. Okay, those are recommendations that you can give. Okay, so yep. So basically, this is all we have for this. Mm, yep, authentication attack. So any question from anyone?
Just a request from my end. Once the session is over, could you please share this PPT? We'll just go through it.
Mm, okay, I will share that. It's just yeah, okay. So I'll just stop sharing. And I'll just share this. Yep. So, any question? If not, then I think I'll ask question. Okay. So I'll just uh, so the question one will be what's the difference between as a guessing and credential stuffing? You can just unmute yourself and so what's the difference between the two, the password guessing?
Yeah, so in case of password guessing, we do guess the password, like password string is there or some dictionary passwords are there, or we can use multiple password for the different accounts. So there is a high chance like one password could work and the account can get compromised. And in case of credit stuffing, there we use some specialized tool for taking out the passwords and some compromised
Yes,
data or some breach data is used in case of credit stuffing from where one try to access to the data accounts.
good. You are 100% correct. Yep. Thank you. Okay, so the next question. So why is reusing password danger? Why it's a danger to our so why is password reuse dangerous? Why is it a bad thing if I use um the same password? Because nowadays if we are like trying to remember too many passwords, we might forget a lot of them. So I think it's just good to have one password, you know. It makes it easy. But it's also a disadvantage. So why is it a disadvantage to use this to reuse a password? Meaning you are using it in several accounts, like your Facebook account, your Google account, and your school account, the same passwords. Who is Punant? Punant Kumara. I think he's not pay attention. So who is H Shriya? Shriya. H Shriya? Shriya? Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correct. Then I'll just type it. Please, I think you have to help me to pronounce this. So you have to answer this question. Okay, so I think it's absent. So we have 2 persons absent. So these 2 people are absent. So we have Tijas.
Yeah. So, why password is reuse is dangerous? Like as per me, like even if we are continuously using the same passwords, and if like someone has got information about our password, and someone has an idea like which password we are using. So, like in future, if that person is gonna access it unauthorizedly, so on certain period of time, if we are changing our password, like not using the same password again and again, and so that it will be better for us, so that that person would not use it like cannot access to our particular account. And also there are some times like we use same password for different kind of account or on different of sites. So like we should not use the same password. We should always use a different password, like even if our one account is compromised, so that others will be they others will be saved.
Right, right. That's good. How do you pronounce your name, please?
It's Tejas, sir.
Oh, okay, okay. No, I thought it was this person.
No, sir, you just wrote my name now. Like first answer also, I was there who gave you first
Yeah,
answer.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. Okay. Who's I'm seeing someone hands up.
yeah, it's me, Stress.
Who?
Stress.
Oh, stress.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'll give I'll give you another question because the question has already been answered.
Okay.
So, yes, so just wait. Okay, so you give just one effective defense against Credential Stephen.
I think one is MFA and the other is monitoring.
Okay. Yep. Yep. 100%. That's good. All right. Okay. I think we have just few minutes to go. Um, so what I would like you to do, so I'd like you to be able to install at least one of the tools that we may mention of. Yep, at least you should be able to have one. So you can probably we can use Hydra for now, and yep, or join the Ripple or Burp suit if we already have. Yep. So by next session, we should use one of these tools for the demo. Yep. So at least try to have Hydra and Burp suit as well on your system so that we can have a practical demo for I don't know, tomorrow. Just a minute. Yes, so yeah. So tomorrow we will do the demo. Okay, so try to have Hydra and Burp suit. Yep. Or join the Ripple. If you can have access to all the tools, because I'm pretty sure they are easy to install. Okay, within 5 minutes or less, you can install all of these tools. And I think Burp suit we already have because we have done some demos with Burp as well in the past. So just Hydra we need, Sentry or join the repo. We can have, you can install all of these tools. Yeah. So hopefully tomorrow we'll be doing a demo of them. Okay, it's just 1 minute to go. So let me just do the screenshot of all those who are here.
I actually answered the question right. So why my name is here?
Yeah, sorry for that.
Thank you.
Mm. Yeah. Okay, then we see you tomorrow, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Bye bye.